What do you get when you cross a leopard with a jaguar? You get this. Well, not really, but the name of the company is a combination of those two animals. These guys make bikes that have the agility of a leopard with the power of a jaguar. Now, with the Flippo, I'm not seeing a lot of power, but agility, that is a different story. I'll get into all that stuff later, but first I want to talk about Johnny, who is the founder of Leoguar, because he's got a pretty cool story, and it helps explain this, which is a very unusual and unique looking foldable bike. Well, like a lot of guys that start their own bike brand, Johnny is a bicycle enthusiast. He's also an engineer, and he spent the last 30 years working with over 20 brands in designing bicycles that contributed to 1 million bike sales globally. And then in 2023, he left the designing bikes for other people and decided to design bikes for himself, and hence Leoguar was born. Leoguar. Let's see how good the Flippo is from a guy who's been designing bikes for over 30 years. Let's go. All right, so let's start with the price. They got a torque sensor option and a cadence sensor option. The torque one costs $1,300, where the cadence, which is what I have here, costs $1,200. It comes in 4 colors, has a 2-year warranty, it weighs 55 pounds, and it folds down like every other foldable bike. Saddle down, handlebars down, fold the handlebars in, fold the pedals up or down, and then the frame in half. There you go. That's how you do that. Now going from front to back, in the front, you got Schwalbe Big Ben road grade tires. There's aluminum fenders, an auto headlight that comes on as it gets dark. I thought this looked pretty cool. This is the head tube, and it's shaped in an hourglass. Thick, skinny, and thick. There's places to mount a basket on each side. And then to the side of the head tube, all the wiring goes internal. Coming up in front of the handlebars, it's all wrapped. Looks nice and clean. And then you got T-shaped handlebars, Tektro disc brakes with the 160 millimeter rotor. In the cockpit, you got nice feeling and just cool looking grips, a flick bell, a color LCD screen. Up here is a power button and the lights. Then you got plus and minus with 6 pedal assist levels. And then this button is how you enter the advanced settings. I'll talk more about that as I do the performance section. Moving over to the right, there's a 7-speed micro shifter. Push to go up, push to go down. You can go about 2 to 3 gears going down and 1 at a time coming up. And then you got a nice feeling half twist throttle. Now the frame of the bike is what really is the biggest feature that stands out for me. And that's because I don't see a lot of foldable bikes that look like this. For a guy that's been designing bikes for 30 years, I thought he did a pretty good job in designing this one. So coming up from the frame, we got a Velo Plush D2 Comfort saddle. There's a groove in the middle. It feels nice, but it is a little bit hard. And that saddle's attached to a seat post that's the battery. You can't fit a battery there, so it's gotta be here. Underneath the saddle, you have a rack with a 25 kilogram capacity. That's just over 50 pounds. Below that, you got a 350 watt motor, a Shimano Altus derailleur, and that's pretty much it. All right, guys, let's go see how this performs. Let's go test out that 350 watt motor. Now here's where you can customize the bike. If you go into the advanced settings, you can change the throttle speed from 7 to 20 miles per hour. When I set it to 20 miles per hour, I went up the road, I hit 20, I came back down that same road and hit 21. It's got good torque and power at higher speeds, which is surprisingly hard to find with bikes in this price range. Now the speed of the throttle doesn't depend on the pedal assist level. So if you have it set to 1 or 6, it's still gonna top out at 20 miles per hour. Now if you wanna kill the throttle, you can set the pedal assist level to 0, you got nothing. Or in the advanced settings, you can turn it off. But I want it on, because it's better that way. That's everything with the throttle, so what about pedal assist? Well, you got 6 pedal assist levels, and with my normal cadence of around 70 RPM, I got 8, 11, 14, 16, and 18. Now on pedal assist 5, if I increase my cadence to about double what I was doing, then I could get up to 21 miles per hour. I wish I would have given us more gears to make that a little bit easier. The last thing you can change as far as the pedal assist is in the advanced settings. There's a C1, C2 option. And what that does is it just makes each pedal assist level go a little bit faster. Changing C1 to C2 doesn't affect the top speed of the bike. It's still gonna top out at 20 to 21 miles per hour. The next thing with power that I wanna talk about is the acceleration power. It looks tame, cute, sweet, and mild. But if you're not ready and you hit that throttle, it pops the front tire up a little bit. Over dramatization. When I did an acceleration test with just the throttle, I hit 21 miles per hour and 3/4 of a block. That throttle gets up and goes. It's the type of throttle that I like and that you'll like if you like a bike that's got a little zing and zip to it. Now, as far as pedal assist, I went on the same stretch of road and I was able to hit 20 miles per hour in half a block. It's actually got more power than the throttle for the first few feet. But then from 20 to 21, it took me another half a block. So you got good power at first, but it quickly weans off. With pedal assist, the motor reaction time is a little bit different than the throttle. When I was at a standstill, it takes about 1/4 of a revolution before the power comes on. And then when I'm riding, if I stop pedaling, it cuts off pretty quick. But then when I start to pedal again, it takes about a revolution for the power to come back on. The last thing you can do as far as changing the performance of the power is switching the bike from speed mode to torque mode. I left it on torque mode for the hill test. The hill I took it up on was over a 20% grade and it's a half block long. I didn't have any momentum to start. I was at the bottom of the hill, hit the throttle, and climbed to 7 miles per hour by the time I hit the top. I think the Jag was showing off again on that test. Well, that wraps up the power part of the review. So now I want to talk about ride and feel. And the first thing I want to talk about is the rider size, because when you set everything down to the lowest level, it can fit a 5'3" rider. And I believe it because that is feeling very small. Now, when you raise up everything to the highest level, and check this seat. At this point, they say it can fit a rider 6'3". All right, honey, let's go for a ride. But for my height, gonna lower the saddle down, leave the handlebars raised up all the way. It's a pretty comfortable posture. And I got plenty of room in the cockpit area. As far as noises, rattling, things like that, just have a listen. It sounds pretty good. And then I gotta talk about handling. The handling on this is just light and fun. Oh, geez. Really not a lot of weight to the bike. You got a good amount of power to just whip it around and have some fun. I can easily put my foot down. The only bad thing with the handling is that the front wheel is very loose and there's not a lot of weight, which makes it easy to pop up. A little too easy. But once I learned that that was the case, I've actually quite enjoyed how this rides. The last thing to talk about is the range. In the seat posts, that is a 48 volt, 10 amp hour battery. You can take all the way out. You can unplug it, take that in your house, and charge it up with a smart charger. That takes 3 hours to do so. Or you can just leave it plugged into the bike. You don't have to take it out. And they say when this is fully charged, you can take you up to 45 miles. And when you're done with your ride, you can do this. Back away, back away. Play baseball. It's a walking cane. All right, guys, that wraps up the Leoguar Flippo. So how did a guy that has been designing bikes for 30 years do? Well, this guy who's been riding bikes for 3 years, I thought he did a pretty good job. It's got a good speed for the frame and the size of the bike. I'm okay with 21 miles per hour. Ride and feel is very nice. If you want to check out other bikes like this, I'll have them up here. So go check those out. Like, share, subscribe, watch the crap out of them. If you have any questions about this guy, hit me up in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Kickstand. That was not smooth. It's not smooth. It's supposed to drive away.